Hello, and welcome to the Everyday English podcast, where we help you navigate real life situations with clear, slow, and natural English. I am Sarah, and today we are tackling a topic that causes a lot of stress for many of our listeners between the ages of 25 and 35. We are talking about the US visa interview, specifically the B2 tourist visa. If you have ever felt that your bank account isn't big enough or your job isn't high-powered enough to get a visa, this episode is specifically for you.
Hi, Sarah. I am so glad we are discussing this today. I know from talking to our listeners that the fear of being rejected under Section 214B is huge. That is the section where the officer thinks you don't have enough ties to your home country and might try to stay in the United States. For someone in their late 20s or early 30s who doesn't own a house yet, it feels almost impossible to prove they will come back.
It really does feel that way, Mark, but that is actually a common misunderstanding. Many people think that ties only mean property and millions of dollars. In reality, a tie is anything that binds you to your current place of residence. It is an anchor. Today, we are going to go through a checklist of non-financial ties and the exact English vocabulary you need to describe them. By the end of this hour, you will have a clear script and a new sense of confidence for your interview.
That sounds incredibly helpful. Before we dive into the first type of tie, I want to remind everyone listening that if you want to improve your daily English fluency and feel prepared for high-stakes conversations like visa interviews, make sure to subscribe to the Everyday English podcast and hit the notification bell. We share these long-form lessons every day to help you live your life in English with total confidence.
Exactly, Mark. Now let's start with the most common concern. Professional ties. Many people think that if they aren't the CEO of a company, their job doesn't count as a strong tie. That is simply not true. What the officer is looking for is stability and a reason to return to your career. The first word I want to teach you is tenure. Mark, do you know what tenure means in a professional context?
I believe tenure refers to how long you have been working at a specific place. It's like your history with the company.
Exactly. If you have been at your company for 3, 4, or 5 years, you have tenure. This shows you are a stable person. Instead of saying, I have a job, you should say, I have significant tenure with my current employer. Let's practice that. I have significant tenure with my current employer. This sounds much more professional and formal.
That sounds great. Significant tenure. It makes me sound like I am an important part of the organization. But what if someone has only been at their job for 1 year?
Even then, you can focus on your upcoming responsibilities. This is where we use the term project-based commitment. You might say, I am currently leading a project that is scheduled to launch 2 months after I return from my vacation. This tells the officer that your presence at home is required for your work to succeed. You aren't just an employee, you are a key player in an ongoing project.
I like that. So I am leading an upcoming project. That gives me a concrete reason to be back in my office on a specific date. It's not just a vague promise to return, it's a professional obligation.
Correct. An obligation is something you must do. You can also use the phrase contractual obligations. If you have a contract that says you will work for the next 2 years, that is a legal tie to your country. You could say, I have a long-term contract with my employer and I have several professional milestones to reach this year. A milestone is a major goal or a point of progress. By mentioning milestones, you show that your career is moving forward in your home country.
So we have tenure, project-based commitments, and milestones. Those are 3 very powerful ways to describe a job without talking about how much money you make. It shifts the focus from the salary to the responsibility.
Precisely. Now let's move to the second category on our checklist, which is social and family ties. This is often where people feel the most confused. They think, I am not married and I don't have children, so I have no family ties. But in English, we can describe our family roles in a way that shows deep responsibility. Mark, have you heard the term primary caregiver?
Yes, that usually refers to the person who is most responsible for looking after someone else, like a child or an elderly parent.
Right. Many of our listeners in that 25 to 35 age range are helping their parents or younger siblings. If you are the person who manages the household or helps an elderly relative with their daily needs, you are a caregiver. You can say, I am the primary caregiver for my elderly mother, and I manage her medical appointments and daily care. This is a very strong social tie. It shows that people depend on you.
That makes a lot of sense. The word depend is key here. If people depend on you, you have a reason to return. What if you aren't a caregiver, but you have a very close-knit family?
Then we talk about household responsibilities and social anchors. You might say, I contribute significantly to my household's management and support my younger siblings' education. Even the word contribute is powerful. It shows you are an active member of a unit. You aren't just a single person floating around. You are anchored to your family.
I can see how that would change the officer's perspective. It makes you seem like a reliable and responsible adult. I also think about community roles. I know many people who volunteer or are part of a local sports team or a church. Does that count as a tie?
Absolutely. We call these community anchors. If you are a volunteer coordinator or a member of a local organization, you should mention it. You can say, I have deep roots in my local community and I serve as a volunteer for a local youth program. Using the phrase deep roots tells the officer that your life is built where you are. You aren't looking to start a new life in the United States because your current life is already full of connections.
Deep roots. That's a beautiful way to put it. It's very visual. It suggests that you are like a tree that can't just be moved easily.
That is exactly the image we want to create. Now, let's look at the third category, which is future-facing ties. These are ties that haven't fully happened yet, but they are planned for your future at home. For our listeners who are ambitious professionals, this is a very effective strategy. We are talking about professional development and local investments.
Can you give an example of a future-facing tie? I think this might be a new concept for many of us.
Of course. Imagine you are currently taking a specialized course or working toward a certification in your home country. You might say, I am currently enrolled in a professional certification program that concludes next spring. This shows you have invested time and money into a future that exists in your home country. You are not going to leave that behind to work an unskilled job in another country.
Ah, I see. So any ongoing education or a professional development path is a tie because it represents an investment in my local career.
Yes, and you can also talk about local ventures. Perhaps you are starting a small side business or you have a partnership in a local project. You can say, I am a partner in a local business venture and we are in the early stages of expansion. The word venture sounds very professional. It tells the officer that you are an entrepreneur with interests at home. You have skin in the game, which is an English idiom, meaning you have a personal investment in the success of something.
Skin in the game. I love that. It shows that you have something to lose if you don't return. If you have a business or a career path that is growing, you wouldn't want to throw that away.
Exactly. Now, our fourth category is about how to actually say these things during the interview. We call this verbalizing your evidence. Many people bring a big folder of documents to the interview, but they never get a chance to show them. You have to learn how to speak about your documents while you are answering questions. Mark, imagine the officer asks you, what do you do for a living? How would you answer using the vocabulary we just learned?
Well, instead of saying, I am an engineer, I could say, I have been a structural engineer for 5 years, and as you can see in my employment verification letter, I have a significant tenure with my company.
That is perfect. You use the phrase, as you can see in my, to guide the officer's eyes toward your paperwork. It's a transition phrase. It connects your spoken words to your physical proof. Other phrases you can use are, according to my documentation, or I have brought proof of my ongoing projects.
I see. It's almost like being a lawyer for your own life. You are presenting an argument and then pointing to the evidence.
That is exactly what a visa interview is. It's an informal hearing. You are the one who has to provide the narrative. Another important phrase is, my intent is to. The officer wants to know your intent. You can say, my intent is to enjoy a short vacation and then return to my responsibilities at home. By using the word responsibilities, you are reminding them of all the ties we just talked about, your job, your family, your community.
It's all about being specific. I've noticed that when people are nervous, they give very short, vague answers. They just say, I go for holiday, but saying, I am taking a 2-week vacation to visit the Grand Canyon, and then I must return for my brother's graduation is much more convincing.
You hit on a very important point there, Mark. Specificity builds trust. If you are vague, it sounds like you are hiding something or that you don't really have a plan. But when you use specific dates, specific names, and specific roles, it sounds like the truth. Even if your English isn't perfect, using these specific vocabulary words like tenure, caregiver, and milestone will make you sound much more prepared and honest.
This is so empowering. I feel like even someone who doesn't have a lot of money can look at their life and find these ties now. It's about looking at your daily responsibilities and realizing that they are valuable.
They are incredibly valuable. And that brings us to the final part of our lesson today, the ties audit. This is a practical exercise for everyone listening. I want you to take a piece of paper and divide it into 3 columns. In the first column, write down your professional ties, your tenure, your projects, your milestones. In the second column, write down your social and family ties, the people who depend on you and the roles you play in your community. In the third column, write down your future ties, the things you are working toward in your home country over the next year.
And once they have that list, what should they do with it?
They should turn each item into a 2-sentence English explanation. For example, if you wrote down that you help your parents, your sentences might be, I am a primary support for my parents' household. I manage their daily needs and will return after my trip to continue this responsibility. Practice saying these sentences out loud to a mirror. Don't just read them, say them with confidence. The goal is to be able to say them in under 20 seconds.
20 seconds is not a lot of time, but I guess the interviews are very fast, right?
Most interviews are over in less than 3 minutes. You don't have time for a long story. You need to be concise. Concise means giving a lot of information in few words. If you can explain your tie to your country clearly and concisely, you have a much higher chance of success.
This has been such a deep dive into the vocabulary of stability and intent. I feel like I've learned so much about how to frame a life story for a professional setting. Before we wrap up, Sarah, do you have any final advice for someone who might be feeling nervous about their upcoming interview?
Yes, my final advice is to remember that the officer is a person, and they are looking for a reason to say yes. They aren't looking for a reason to say no. They just need to feel confident that you are a person with a plan and a reason to come home. If you speak clearly, use the vocabulary of responsibility, and show that you have anchors in your home country, you are giving them that confidence.
That is very encouraging. I hope everyone listening feels a bit more prepared now. If you found this lesson helpful, please give this video a like and share it with a friend who might be applying for a visa. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the Everyday English podcast. We are here every day to help you build your fluency for the real world, from work and travel to family and finances.
We really are a community here, and we love hearing about your progress. So your challenge for today is to do that ties audit. Identify your 3 strongest anchors and practice your English script for each one. Write them down in the comments if you want to share them with us. We would love to see how you are using this vocabulary.
I'll be checking the comments to see those scripts. It's a great way to practice your writing skills too.
Absolutely. Remember, English fluency is not just about knowing words. It's about using them to change your life and reach your goals. Whether you are aiming for a visa, a new job, or just a better way to communicate with the world, keep practicing, keep listening, and keep going. You are doing a great job, and we are proud of your progress.
Well said, Sarah. We will see you all in the next episode of the Everyday English podcast. Until then, stay curious and keep practicing your English.
Goodbye, everyone. Your future is waiting, and you have everything you need to succeed. Go out there and show the world your roots and your goals. See you next time.